What's going on, everybody? So we got another one today, another review that is, of yet another scan tool. And I hope you guys enjoy these because you know what? Truth be told, it is ultra important for you as a DIYer or you as a home gamer to have some form of scan tool so that you can save money when it comes to fixing your cars, because literally sometimes it's as easy as a gas cap that's loose, or a spark plug that fell off, or something that you can fix at home without having to go to a shop and spend $100 on diagnostics. Now, the one that we're going to be doing today is kind of a neat little guy. It's the C-Reader CR319 by Launch. Now, Launch, you guys know my big scanner is a Launch scanner. It's the $4,000 one, whatever. This one sells on Amazon for $27.99. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take this thing out to my BMW 540, which I know has codes. We're going to run through the process of using it. We'll show you how easy it is to use. I'll tell you where to get it, what I think of it, and yeah, we'll go from there. So let me grab my keys. We'll go outside to the car. Alright guys, so I'm going to do my best here to try to keep this thing in focus. There's a ton of glare that you can see, but this is what it looks like when you first boot it up. Now you have a bunch of options here. You have Diagnostics, DTC Lookup, Tool Setup, and Help. Now the cool thing about these newer little code readers is that for a very, very small price, you get a DTC Lookup function, which means that this thing has some DTCs stored in it and some definitions, so you'll be able to figure out, what you're looking at. And that's important, because if it just gave you a number with no description, then you wouldn't know where to look. Myself, I've been a mechanic for years, so I can pretty much tell codes right off the bat. I know what the numbers mean, but if you're just, doing this in your backyard or in your driveway, then you're not going to know exactly what you're looking at. So it's handy to have that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Diagnosed. See if I can get the buttons in there for you too. Now it's basically going to scan the vehicle, figure out which method of communication it works with. And it found it, the ISO 9141. And so now right there we're going to get a list of things. It says DTCs in this ECU is 1. Readiness OK 3, readiness incomplete 5. Those are all the actual monitors for doing emissions and things of that nature. So what we're going to want to do is hit OK. And now we can do a bunch of different things. We can read our codes, we can erase our codes, we can check our emissions readiness, we can look at data stream information, which we'll do in a second. But let's read the codes and see. Alright guys, so hopefully you can see that without the glare. There we go. The code that we got is a 1519, which is a BMW specific code, which it shows you there is BMW specific. Camshaft position actuator, bank 1, which we have timing chain issues in this car, therefore I knew it was a cam sensor code. So now that we know what that code is, we can kind of get an idea of where we need to go next to fix this thing. So we're going to go back. And this time around, we're not going to erase it because I need to fix it first, but we are going to go down to the data stream. I'm going to show you how you can read some data. Now, the most common stuff that you're going to want to look at is going to be things like your coolant temp, your battery voltage, things of that nature. So we're going to bring that up and take a look at that. Alright guys, so we had to switch out of the BMW because apparently some of these smaller scanners don't like the German cars, especially the older German cars. So now we're in an 05 Jeep Liberty, which is where this scanner is going to shine. So what we did, the same thing we did in the BMW, we basically just did the Diagnose tab, hit OK, And now we have, you know, DTCs in the ECU 0, but what I wanted to show you guys was its data reading capability and utilizing data to troubleshoot a job. So you can read the data stream. Now this obviously, because it's such a low cost scan tool, or I should say code reader, it's not going to allow you to pick individual data PIDs to look at, but you are going to get a list of the most common. So we'll select that and you can see it's loading. And then we're going to have things like, you know, fuel system is in closed loop right now, 22% load, engine temp is at 203. And then we can scroll down and we can see our short-term fuel trims, our long-term fuel trims, which are important, especially if you're troubleshooting a vacuum leak or something of that nature. This is also going to show you your map sensor, vehicle speed, engine RPM, spark advance. So it's got quite a bit. Right now it's pulling up 24 different points of data. So throttle position sensor, O2 sensors, you can check to see if your O2 sensors are functioning. So really not too bad for the cost of this unit. It does do a lot. Now, I can say that the downfall is obviously it's not going to work on some of the German stuff and some of the more high-end stuff. I think these code readers are really just made for doing some of the domestic stuff and just your very basic code reading. So now that we know that it does do all of that information, let's go through some of the other features in this. Now, we've obviously read our codes. We can erase codes. We have our readiness, which will tell us, which will basically tell us what our emission status is. And we'll take a look. And it'll tell us, okay, our misfires are ready, fuel's ready, catalytic converters ready, things of that nature. So that's good to know before you take a car through emissions that you've just repaired. Then we've got our data stream, which we were just looking at, our freeze frame information, which is ultra important when you're setting a code. When the code sets, you can look at the freeze frame information. It'll tell you exactly what was going on with the car when it failed. There's an O2 sensor test function, onboard monitoring, evap system, and vehicle information. So if we go to vehicle information, I keep hitting that button, I don't know why, but let's go back through this. Alright, so let's go to vehicle information. Let's maybe hit the right button this time. There we go. So this unit will read the VIN, which is awesome. That's very handy to have when you're doing this. We'll also give you the ID, which is usually the ECU ID or the car ID, and the CVN number, which can be helpful if you're trying to replace an ECU or something of that nature. So you do have quite a bit of functionality with this little tool. And what I actually like about it is the screen. I mean, it's literally like an 1.5 or 2-inch diagonal screen, but it's quite visible. So now let's go through the DTC lookup function. So these are pretty cool in the fact that you can check out what DTCs you want to look at. So for instance, let's go with a P0300. Press the up arrow to get to the next one, and then you press the down arrow to select your number. So P0300, we'll hit OK, and it's going to tell us that's a generic code. It's a random multiple misfire, cylinder misfire detected. Now let's see, let's just say you got a P0. Oh wow, it actually does body control codes. Looks like it does ABS codes. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's say we've got a P0301. Hit OK. It'll tell us cylinder 1 misfire detected. So very handy feature. Very handy feature. Because, and I'll tell you exactly why you might not want to do this, but you can do this. There's a function in these Chrysler vehicles where you turn the key on, off, on, and it'll actually read the code out in the odometer. But it'll only read the code out. It's not going to give you a description. So having this tool is going to allow you to read out that description. Type in your code, find the description. So that's pretty awesome. And then, of course, you got tool setup. Tool setup just has your language set and your units of measure set. You can set it to metric or standard. And then a help function. And the help function is about OBD, about data stream. So you can look at these, and it's actually got a pretty good explanation of what every one of these things is. So when you're utilizing this scanner, you've got a help function built in, you've got a code lookup built in. It does do enhanced OBD on some of the vehicles, such as this one, where you can see some more stuff. It does do mode 6 evap data, which is awesome. So believe it or not, guys, I honestly thought that when I first hooked this thing up, I mean, it's literally weighs about as much as a Zippo lighter. I thought this was going to be just completely not even worth reviewing, but to be totally honest with you guys, on Amazon right now, this code reader is going for $27.99. $27.99. So, in my opinion, it's definitely worth every penny of it. So, we'll Alright guys, so like I was saying, sorry I had to deal with a phone call there, but yeah, this thing is actually worth every penny of that. And I mean, you can put it in your glove box, you can fit it in your center console, you could keep this thing in your pocket, it's so small. But handy to have. Keep one in your car, buy one, keep it in your car. Check engine light comes on, you plug it in, you scan it real quick. You can clear the code if you fix the problem, or if you just want to know what's going on with your car before you bring it to your mechanic, that's awesome too, because you know what? As a mechanic, I love it when somebody comes to me and says, hey, it's got these 3 codes in it and I don't know why, so fix it. But at least it gives me something to go on. So check out the link in the description. I linked to where you can buy it. I'm also going to give you guys a code for 40% off, which puts this below 20 bucks. So for under $20, literally the cost of a lunch at McDonald's, you can have this in your car, and you can have the peace of mind in knowing that when your check engine light comes on, you can pull this out and utilize it. So I actually recommend this thing for very basic code reading. It's not going to do anything else but tell you what codes are and what codes are set and be able to clear codes. But for under 20 bucks, guys, you cannot go wrong. And again, this is from a big company. This is from Launch. I mean, they are a Chinese company, but Launch is a huge manufacturer of professional grade scan tools. I, in fact, own one. So you can be confident that this thing is actually going to work pretty well. Now, like I said, here's the pluses. Small, reads codes, has built-in code descriptions, has built-in vehicle descriptions, has tons and tons of information, reads tons and tons of data, and that's wonderful. Now, the downside of this thing, the one downside that I can see, is it's definitely not going to work on some of the older German vehicles. Like both my BMWs, this thing does not want to read data. It barely even reads codes. So I can only imagine that for things like Audi, Volkswagen, especially if they're like, let's just say pre-2005, you're probably going to have a problem with this scanner. But Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Jeep, all the American manufacturers, Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, it is going to work perfectly for you. So check out the link in the description below. Go pick one up for yourself. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, the review of the little Launch CR319 there. This little thing, I don't want to say it's a powerhouse. It does what it's supposed to do. It's a code reader and it does it well. It does it well as long as you're doing it on a normal everyday vehicle. You're not trying to diagnose, any exotics or any German cars or anything like that. But it's great to have with you. If you have one of these, you buy one of these, you throw it in your glove box, you'll know that, at any point in time when your check engine light comes on, you'll be able to take a look at it, read it, get an idea what might be wrong with it, if it's something catastrophic or it's something you can just keep driving with and deal with later. Good little tool to have. So, I just blew the horn by accident. That was kind of funny. So what you guys are going to want to do is go down in the link below, go pick one up. I mean, with the code I'm giving you right now, Launch gave me this code to offer to you guys, 40% off. 40% off is crazy because this thing's only $27.99 to begin with, so it puts it down pretty low. I think with the code it's like $17.99 or something like that. Under 20 bucks, guys. Go pick one of these things up and keep it in your car just for backup. Well, I think that's it for this one. Didn't want to make it too long because there's really not a whole lot of features with this, but it works really well. Again, it is the Launch CR319. So go pick one up. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that subscribe button, ring that little bell, make sure you click the like button on this, and yeah, stay tuned for more. Have a good night, everybody.